Hi, I'm Chris, and welcome to my game table. I'm going to be talking about the Settlers of Catan board game. And so what I'm going to focus on is common question new players have. So I'm going to give you some tips and pointers for your first few games of Settlers of Catan. The most common question and the most obvious question a new player would have is, how do I win? You win by having 10 victory points. How do you get those 10 victory points? Well, you get 1 point for every settlement you've built. You get 2 points for every city you've built. You get 2 extra points if you're the player who has the longest road. The development cards, there's some cards in there that say they're worth 1 victory point. And then there's the largest army. You can get some soldier cards out of the development card deck. If you have the most of those cards, you have the largest army, and that's worth 2 victory points. So it's pretty simple, only 5 sources of victory points to keep track of. Another common question is for new players, the very first decision in the game is placing a starting settlement on the board. They're going to place 2 of them, and the common question is, where do I put it? How do I figure out where to put it? What I always tell new players, and what works very well, simply look at the number of dots. So you're going to place your settlement on an intersection. Each number has a number of dots underneath it. The number of dots is how likely that number is to be rolled. So if you simply put your settlement on an intersection that has the most total dots of all 3 spots, you'll be in a very good situation. You'll have high probabilities for production. You'll be very competitive with the experienced players because you'll be getting lots of cards. You might even have a better starting setup than experienced players, because I've noticed they tend to overcomplicate things, and they tend to focus too much attention on what resources there are, what ports are nearby, when really what should be the focus is resource production. Another common question is, what kind of situations should I look out for? This is the kind of situation I would really pay attention to and try to avoid. So if the blue player here is in high risk of getting blocked out, you can only build settlements 2 intersections apart from existing settlements. So you cannot build a settlement here because it's 1 intersection away from an existing one. So if the orange player was able to build a road here, the blue player would be entirely blocked off, would not be able to build anything else, any new settlements in this area, because orange is blocked in it. So you want to look out for situations like that and try to avoid them. Other common question is, what should I be doing when it's not my turn? One of the cool things about Catan is that there's a lot to do when it's not your turn, a lot to pay attention to, so it's a very engaging game in that way. So you want to pay attention to what the die roll is at the start of each turn. You definitely don't want to miss your chance to have drawn production cards. You also want to pay attention to what trades people are offering. There's a lot of times when players are desperate enough for a particular resource that they're willing to offer 2 or maybe even 3 resource cards for it. So you want to look out for those hot deals and take advantage of them as they come along. What are some commonly misplayed rules? The game is very simple. It's one of its strengths. If there's commonly misplayed rules, it usually involves the development cards. If you happen to draw victory point cards, you keep them face down in front of you. You keep them a secret. You don't tell anyone about them. The only time you reveal them is at the very end of the game, when this card plus all of your other points gives you 10 points. So these points remain secret until the very end of the game. Also, you can buy as many of these as you want in a turn, but you can only play 1 of these development cards per turn. Another commonly forgotten rule is that you cannot play them the same turn that you buy them. So you buy them this turn, you have to wait till the next turn or later turns if you want to play them. So that's pretty much it. It's a very simple game. You should have a lot of fun. That'll give you some good pointers, and you should have a good advantage for your first few plays of Settlers of Catan.